This is Connie Reeves, and I am the executive producer of the Get Money, Make Money, Save Money Momentum radio show. I am so excited today to have my co-host, Mr. Omarra Byrd, on the East Coast with me, and I also have in the field Mr. Kevin Gantos, who handles the show for the information on the West Coast about money, about you getting your money, you finding out how to get the money. So how about saving some of those dollars you've worked so hard to earn? What about instead of getting a second job to make ends meet, have you ever considered having a part-time business? There are so many tax breaks that you can have. I was reading this article by the AFL-CIO organization that was titled, "What's Wrong with Our Economy?" It says that the Great Recession officially ended more than 3 years ago. But working families know there's still something wrong with the U.S. economy. If we want to fix our economy, we first have to understand what's wrong with it. So what is wrong with the U.S. economy? The short answer is it's still recovering from the crash of 2008. So the recession really hurt us all, most of us, as Americans. This cutback in spending was like slamming on the brakes. We had collapse of home prices and pension wealth. More than $12 trillion of household wealth was sucked out of the U.S. economy in 2008. So families had to cut back on spending, especially families that had borrowed heavily during the bubble years. As a result of these factors, middle class buying power remains too weak now to fuel the kind of robust growth we need to lift our economy out of the massive hole it fell into. So we are here as essential service brokers. And what does that mean to you? That means that you can have the opportunity to save money on essential bills, essential products, essential services that you and your family are already using. And we can tell you how to make some money also on working with those essential bills. So I am so glad to have my co-host on the East Coast with me, Mr. Omarra Byrd. And so, Mr. Byrd, how is your business doing for you?
Business is actually doing extremely well. I'm really excited about actually being in business for myself and being a lot more in control of not only my finances, my time, but also my future by being able to be an essential service broker. So things are going extremely well for me. Excited to be here on the show and actually looking forward to hearing from Mr. Kevin Gantos as well to see how business is going for him over there in the West Coast.
Well, Omar, I'll tell you what, fantastic. And Connie, great to be on today's show. I'm excited about the listeners listening in. And business couldn't be better. I'll tell you right now, when we think about a down economy, people say it isn't a down economy, but it is. It's simply because we're not expanding the way we should. I like the idea of having a plan B. For me, it's a plan A. Started out as a plan B. And obviously the freedom to be able to travel whenever I want, wherever I want, with whom I want. Prime example, my wife and I were leaving for Mexico, but we can even do business from there. So Just excited to be on board with this the show, and more importantly, Omarra, thanks for reaching out and asking.
That's absolutely amazing that you can go and travel and your business is still going well for you. And we are so excited to have our listeners on. We want to just have a conversation. How's this economy working for you? Is it doing what you thought? Didn't you think by now you would be back to where you were a few years ago? Does it seem like everything just was pulled from under you? Well, I know, like in my household, I was gainfully employed. I have been working, in media most of my life. And it seems like in 2009, I was laid off from my job. And I started thinking about doing something different. I wanted to have a business. So I had a business before. We used to live in Chicago. We moved to Texas. Then we moved to Nevada. And so it was in Nevada that I got laid off. So that's when I started looking at having a business again. And I wanted to be at home because in Nevada, Las Vegas, it's extremely hot in the summertime, and I was tired of running out, trying to get to work, get in traffic. So I came across this opportunity that was very, very lucrative for me. I wanted to talk a little bit, about having a home business and talk about how it can save you on your taxes. So going back out to Southern California, Mr. Gantos, how did you get started as an essential service broker?
A friend reached out to me and asked if I was open. And at the time, because of the person that asked me, I said, I'll take a look. And when I saw the information that I needed to see, it made just too much sense. I mean, the very things that people are trapped because they have to go into work every Monday to go to work to pay the very bills. I got excited about the fact that we actually were part of something where we could turn people's bills into a paycheck. And that just made too much sense.
Yes, it is exciting. It's just an exciting opportunity that we are able to offer people to learn about how to get paid on the bills that they are already paying. So, Mr. Byrd, how did you become an essential service broker?
My story was actually just a little bit different than Mr. Gantos' story. But, at the time I was actually driving truck. I'm one of them people that I tend to call myself a jack of all trades, master of nothing, because I've worked so many different jobs in my lifetime, from the age of 14 to about the age of 37 when I semi-retired. But at the time I was actually driving tractor trailer, and the difficulty that I had at the time, it just happened to be the right season for me to be interested in looking at something, because I had just had a son. I had my older son, and then I just had another son. And being in the truck, sometimes overnight, away from my family, was something that I wasn't really excited about. So the way it happened for me is I walked into an actual record store looking to find some old records that, actually it was CDs, I'm saying records, but it was some older CDs in the store. And the gentleman who was working behind the counter, I actually knew the owner. And the gentleman working behind the counter was a younger guy who happened to be a partner with the guy that I knew who owned the store. Must have came in because of hard times and invested some money and partnered up with him. And we were talking about music, and then he eventually went into talking about being an essential service broker. And when he explained it to me, it just made sense. And that's the same way Mr. Kevin Gantos felt about it. It just made so much sense to be able to service people with products and services that they use and pay for every 30 days without even consciously thinking about it. When you're talking about services and products, if you don't pay your cell phone bill gets cut off. So unlike a car where if you don't pay the note for 3, 4, 5 months, you may not have any issues, I was actually upset that someone didn't show me this when I was 18 years old. Because here I am, 37, working all these different jobs, but the concept just made so much sense, and I got started.
Yes, and that's a good point you bring up, because we know that there are certain bills that will get cut off immediately if you do not pay your bill. So it's a pleasure, and it's just an honor to be able to work and get paid on the type of product, the type of services. So I know that you may have a job that you really enjoy, but what we're trying to tell you is it's also good for you to start a business, a part-time business. It is better for you to be in control of your life than for someone else. And so this article that I was reading also in Forbes magazine says that home-based businesses are quickly becoming the fastest growing form of business startups. Growing your company out of your home allows for flexibility that is difficult when renting or buying office and warehouse space. Although working at home requires self-discipline, the benefits can be substantial, especially in the startup years. And I know I have a friend, he's my accountability partner. He retired recently, and I guess he just wasn't trusting enough in his future that he went and opened up a convenience store. And now he says that he's a slave to that store. He says, Connie, I was a slave to my job. Now I'm a slave to the store. He says, so I've got to now sell this store so I can just work my home business. So a home business will give you more work time and less commute time. My friend, he lives in Los Angeles. The traffic is horrible, just like it is in Atlanta, Georgia. And when you have a home business, you don't have to deal with that commute. You can work right at home. So, Mr. Gantos, how is it out in your neck of the woods with the traffic, with the commutes of people trying to get back and forth to their jobs?
This is my commute is from the bedroom to the office. So as far as traffic in California, oh yeah, bad stuff. And I see these people if I'm running to an airport or something like that because I'm flying out of town and I'm looking at the traffic, and I just realize these people do this every day. They'll sit in traffic for hours, going to the job and back on a daily basis, 5 days, 6 days a week. And it just amazes me that people don't know that there's an option like we have. But I will say, as a home-based business, as you said, is the place to to go out there and spend $250,000, like your friend who opened up a convenience store. It costs you money, and he's right about you being a slave to your business. And it is now my commute again is from the bedroom to the office in my home. And when I wake up in the morning, because of the products we market, when I wake up in the morning and turn on the lights, I get paid to take a hot shower in the morning. I get paid to drink a hot cup of coffee. I get paid to be online. I get paid to talk on my cell phone. And late at night, when it's all said and done, I get paid to watch TV if I decide to do that. So, again, right place, right time, right opportunity.
Absolutely. And if you would like to learn more about how you can have a home business, go to www.conniereevesonline.com. That's www.conniereeves, as in Victory, ES, online.com. Yes, and this article was saying that Americans spend an average of almost 50 minutes a day commuting to and from their offices. So it's like Mr. Gantos said, this article is saying one of the best benefits of working in a home office is that commuting involves no more than a few steps to the spare room or the basement. That leaves more time for revenue producing activities. And I think that's a very good point, because when you have a home business, you're not worrying about getting to work on time. You're not worrying about being stuck in traffic. You have the time and the convenience of thinking about how your business is going to be productive, how you're going to try this, you're going to try that. But I used to try to do so many things for my business, from sun up to sundown. I need to do this, I need to do that. Then I like, wait a minute, hold it. If I get one major thing accomplished, I need to pat myself on the back. And I need to just sit down and chill for a while. And I can do that. I have that luxury of doing that. So, Mr. Byrd, how is it that you work your home business?
Well, I work it very similar to the way you guys work your home business. It's just amazing to me to get up when you're done sleeping. So there is a certain amount of discipline that's necessary, but it's also great that you make your own schedule. So on days that you don't have to be up at a specific time doing a specific task in order to build your business, you can literally sleep until you're done sleeping. But one of the amazing things about that story of the gentleman who purchased the business and, the business was $250,000, the amazing thing about that story is he's now, less than a year later, ready to sell it, and probably going to sell it for a loss. So if he's fortunate, he may get a little return on investment, or he may break even, hopefully.
And if you are interested in possibly being at home and raising your kids, being able to help them with their homework, seeing them grow up and going through all of the little things, please go to www.conniereevesonline.com. That's www.CONNIEREEV as in victory, ES, online.com. And ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to tell you a secret about having your home business that a lot of people have no idea about, and that is saving on your taxes. You can get some very good tax breaks. I was reading another article about how homeowners have tax breaks with home-based businesses. It says that when you file taxes as a solo business owner, things are more complicated than those days when you may have received a tax form, W-2, in the U.S. from a single employer. However, you've also got plenty of deduction opportunities to trim your tax bill. You can deduct your home office, and you may have heard, and this is why it's such a big secret, because people think that because they have a home business, this article says that you may have heard that the home office deduction is a big red flag, and the IRS is more likely to audit the self-employed who take advantage of it. However, if you're legitimately entitled to the deduction, take it. It can be one of your most significant annual expenses. You can save on your home utilities, office supplies, and the one I love is your travel expenses. You can, if you go to attend a conference, you travel to meet a client, you travel to go to a business meeting, you can deduct any transportation costs, plane tickets, bus fare, taxis, airport parking, rental car. You can deduct your lodging and tips, and you can deduct 50% of your meals for businesses. So isn't that right, guys? Any one of you can jump in to talk about how you save on your taxes.
Well, I was just talking to a gentleman this evening, and he's an IT guy. He works from home, and he told me that he had to spend about $40,000 on taxes for last year, and it just floored me.
Wow.
So I connected him with the guy who actually does my taxes, because he told me that if you have a home business, you should always be getting some sort of return every year, just because you have a home-based business, because of the various different tax breaks you get. He said it's about 72 of them. So I absolutely love the tax breaks. First 2 years, I was a home business owner. I didn't take advantage of it because I didn't know about it. But once I got wind of it, past 5 years, my tax return has been 5 figures. So to be able to get a tax return of 5 figures, 5 years in a row, at bare minimum, that's $50,000, which is more money than most people make working full-time at a job for a year here in North America. So it's a blessing to be able to get that type of money back based off of having a home-based business, which gives you so many other benefits at the same time.
But here's what I've identified, which is really key. Because of our essential service business, now I have friends literally in California that were full-time nurses making $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and they actually enrolled in this to buy a franchise, this essential service franchise business, simply because they needed the tax shelter. And none of them, a lot of them didn't even come into this thinking about making money as much as they were looking for the tax benefit. And because of that, they've now, actually over 20 of them have retired from being nurses in the last few years. So that's what ended up for them. So there's a listener listening in on this. Understand the beauty of what it is. You can get started in a business like this for less than a week's pay and actually start your home-based business and enjoy all the tax benefits.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme that we're talking about here. We are legitimate essential service brokers, and we distribute for a Inc. 500 company. When you take your receipts and get your spreadsheets together, then that's the key. You have to have your receipts. If you have your receipts, there is nothing the IRS can do but give you the deductions. So therefore, you will get the benefit of getting the refund back for having a home business. It's a very lucrative thing. So, Mr. Byrd, what can you say to our listening audience that we are so excited about telling them this information, and in the future we will have more information. We will be more specific for different age groups, for different gender groups, for students, and for everyone. We will elaborate even more so. But what can you tell them today about becoming an essential service broker?
Well, I would absolutely tell them to take action. Again, I said earlier, this gentleman made an investment of $250,000, $250,000 to start a business, and to get started in business as an essential service broker is nowhere near even close to any type of investment like that. In fact, some ladies probably have shoes in their closet that cost as much as it costs you to get started as an essential service broker. So I would tell folks to take action, because the risk is very minimal, extremely minimal in terms of starting a business. nowhere near the cost of starting most businesses, but the potential profits that you can see in a business such as this, even with the tax deductions, just talking about the taxes like we did today, it is unfathomable why someone would pass up on the opportunity to just get those tax breaks. In fact, some things, when the economy shifted, it turned some businesses upside down. And they still may have been in business, they still may have worked there, but it was affecting them in some way. This business was so exciting for me was through the hard times of the economy, our business actually grew. We were, 9 years straight in the Inc. 500, Inc. 5000 because we got essential services. And during bad economies, as much as I think people having their home foreclosed and moving their stuff out because they couldn't afford their home, they were on their cell phone letting their family know that they were making the move or to come help. So they didn't turn the cell phone off, but they did have to move out of their home. So those essential products and services maintained through a bad economy, through a good economy. In fact, I call them recession-proof services and products just because of that. So be able to get started, get paid on these products and services, again, that are recession-proof, because I'm one of those people that believe we're not always out of this recession that we're currently in. I think things will probably get a little bit worse before they get a whole lot better. So the best thing to do is to prepare yourself now. Don't fix a leaky roof when it's raining. Fix it when everything is in order. It's a sunny day. You're not under the gun. And find yourself an opportunity to do something to bring more income into your household just in case.
Omarra Byrd, always a pleasure sharing, obviously, the show with you. As far as the listeners are listening in, we've heard from some of the best of the best, and I can't emphasize enough what you heard here today. There's a common message in all of that.
And please go to www.conniereevesonline.com. We thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to thank my co-host on the East Coast, Mr. Omarra Byrd, and our co-host in the field in Southern California, Mr. Kevin Gantos. And we look forward to talking and having a conversation with you again about the economy and about becoming an essential service broker.